All right, so this question is really easy one. All right, so we are given the p-value, all right, which is 0.0662, and also we are given the alpha value, which is 0.03. So in this case, regardless if you are in two tail or one tail, all right, there is a formula that applies. So if the p value is smaller than the alpha value, all right, the conclusion will be reject 80. Obviously, if we have the opposite scenario, will be do not reject. So I'm gonna keep only one formula, all right, and now just we're gonna place the values and figure out whether it's true or false. So the p-value here is 0.0662 and the alpha value is 0.03. Right, so if you have a confusion to compare them, just make them 4 digits each. All right, so here 300, here 662. So is it true or false? Obviously this is false. So because this is a false statement, we do not reject. We make the opposite, right? Do not reject 80. Right, and that's your conclusion basically. Since the p-value is greater than the alpha value, will be do not reject, and this is the most appropriate. Right, so we have the p-value definitely greater is this one or this one, and we are not rejecting. All right, now let me try to explain it on the chart what really happened. All right, so as we know, the alpha value is the threshold between reject and accept, right? So this is two tails, right? So I'm using the two tails. So the totality of these two values, the areas, this will be your alpha value, all right? And this where you're gonna be do not reject, and this is the rejection, right? So the division is always made by the alpha. Alpha is where you're gonna really put the threshold between accept and reject, and always this threshold here is gonna be called the critical value. So if you are transforming it into z value, this is gonna be z critical, and this is z critical. All right, those two values. Now, because the the p-value, sorry, is greater than the alpha value, so what's gonna happen here? That this area is gonna be a little bit bigger, and the whole tail here, the blue shaded tail here, and the blue shaded tail from here. All right, it would be a representation of the p-value, and I took it greater than alpha, and the reason is because that's our scenario. And again, the threshold of the p-value, all right, where you're gonna end here at the z-axis, that point here is going to be called the z-stat. So we could have one z-stat or we could have two z-stat, depend how many tails we have. So now we can see clearly that the z-stat is within do not reject. All right, and therefore that we have the conclusion do not reject. Let me double check it is the right answer. Since p-value is greater, do not reject, and that's correct.